Sound technology in film media has improved vastly over the years, from the early days of the vibraphone process all the way up to the object-based sound systems that we have today. Although film was originally first released at the beginning of the 1920s, and before then having no sound and usually having sound added after, usually music, but not singleized sound, the vibraphone process eventually would change that by using sound recorded on a record, this time a 78 shellac record of some sorts, would be used to record the sound technology. Eventually, magnetized sound or magnetic sound technology would be used, starting in the mid-1930s after most technologies started improving. Eventually, improvements into the mono technology, eventually with Dolby Stereo in the early 1970s, and eventually Dolby Stereo Surround in the early 1970s as well, allowed for surround sound technology to start being used. However, most theater chains at the time, mainly that being independent chains and mainly localized chains, refused to update their technology, most of it still being used from the early 1950s. As such, it contained either blown speakers or muffled sound that essentially ruined the theater-going experience. In 1983, THX was created, although not a sound system by any means. It was designed to certify theaters that had better quality prints or had better standards than the others that allow for better technology. Eventually, improvements in 5.1 technology finally culminated with the release of the first digital 5.1 tracks of Dolby Digital in early 1992 and DTS in early 1993. Eventually, improvements to Dolby Digital and DTS in the form of DTS-ES and Dolby Surround EX, or Dolby Digital Surround EX, would eventually improve the technology up to 6.1 channels of audio. Eventually, Dolby True HD, DTS HD Master Audio, and its subsidiaries would eventually go on to become common standard on Blu-ray titles when that format would launch in early 2006. In 2012, a new object-based version of Dolby Digital, known as Dolby Atmos, eventually hit its way into the market, eventually being test marketed in Los Angeles for the release of Brave, eventually would go on to be used in multiple theater chains over the years. Eventually, it would make its first Blu-ray release and soon became the common standard for most Blu-ray titles, although some Blu-ray titles today use its equivalent, DTS-X, or use DTS HD Master Audio for the films that are not have been made in Dolby Atmos, or movies that did not do so well that it doesn't justify using the Dolby Atmos fee. Since 2015, movies released on DVD in Dolby Digital form have been mainly fold-downs of the Atmos or True HD mix, as those DVD releases cannot code the bandwidth to handle Dolby True HD or Dolby Atmos titles. Since then, most movie theaters have used Dolby Atmos as the common standard, although most theater chains continue to use Dolby True HD DTS HD Master Audio as fold-downs of the Dolby Atmos versions.